Hello, everyone. I've got Jill and Polly over in the corner eating their chips and their meat. And Polly thinks the meat's pretty special. Fee, you won today. Hello. Lots of love to you. You've been getting lots of love for the last little while. I hope you're doing okay, and I hope this wine is helping. Craig and all of the Goodman household. Hello. The Kimmels are here. Hello, Rita. Hello, Michael. Hello, Jeff and Sue. Yes. So Rita's asking if we're keeping warm, and it takes a little while to get this room warmed up from when it's cold. But Richard's had the floor heating on all day today, and it's quite cosy finally, which is lovely. G'day neighbours across the road. Shannon, how are you? Rita, we're getting Greek takeaway. As had steak and chips on Tuesday night. May have cracked the bottle open. It was delicious. It is special, Craig. Absolutely. Comfort wine. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know, that's what this is for. It's for the good times and the bad times and everything in between. So, 2023 the Moorooduc McIntyre Pinot Noir. Hello, Sue and Daryl. G'day. Lovely to see you. Rob, hello. Rob, I'm really sorry that we forgot to deliver your box and you had to come and pick it up today. Apologies. But, you know, a day not visiting Moorooduc. Who else is there? Jack and Zach are there. Hello. Dan, hello. Is Paige there as well? Peter and Karen, hello. Shell and Andrew just finishing up cooking. Yes, excellent work. Paige is at Melbourne Airport. Okay, good. Save her a little bit, Dan. It's always nice. So I'm just going to check this very quickly. Slip this very quickly into the decanter. I don't think it needs it, but I think it is just a nice little nudge to remind it it's out of the bottle and has to start talking to us. So 2023 Duck Pinot. Peter and Karen, are we decanting? Yes, decanted. And then into the glass. There's some wine for you, Jill, when you're ready. Poor Jill's been cooking up a storm for the last couple of days, and she looks like she really needed those chips and that meat. Are they helping? Good. And a good night's sleep. And she is dipping the chips into the salt, which is how you should go when you don't have béarnaise sauce to dip your chips. All right. Isn't that a beautiful colour? Hello, Alison. Oh, first of all, Faye hasn't said hello yet tonight, so hopefully she's there. I just wanted to say, yes, Pete, we've decanted. Just a quick, gentle decant, and then straight into the glass. It doesn't really need it. The Goodmans had it straight out of the bottle, so just see how you go. Very umami, Fee, absolutely. So this is soft as silk out of the bottle, absolutely, Rob. So this is the 2023 Duck Pinot that we're just finishing up with in cellar door today and tomorrow, and then we're starting with the 2024 this weekend. Sorry, there's a bit of talking and music and stuff going on in the background. It's a bit hard to focus. Yes, so this weekend, Peter and Karen have béarnaise sauce. It's split, but I cheated and rescued it with cornflour. Well done. I think poor Jill's had to come and get her own wine now. I'm not sure what Richard's doing, fussing around with the cats or something. You could give his steak to Polly, Jill. I always forget to turn my email off. I'm still here. I'm just turning that off so that it doesn't go bingly boop at us. Good. Okay, back to the wine. And I smell a little bit of duck fat and fried potatoes and grilled and fried steak. So I'm just trying to get through all of that to get back to the wine. And the wine stands up to it perfectly. It's got this beautiful dark cherry fruit and some red cherry. It's really concentrated. It's got a warm nose, Alison's saying, and I totally agree. It's a beautiful, and I really wanted to drink this wine with you guys on a cold winter's night, so tonight's pretty perfect for it. It's got this gorgeous juicy fruit core to it on the nose, but then it's got these lovely, it's got a bit of duck fat and a bit of spiciness and a bit of herbs kind of all swirling around the edges, which is really lovely. Rob's saying it reminds him of the the continental chocolate cure, cherry chocolate cures. They're the best. Mum and Dad used to have them at dinner parties, and my sisters and I used to get up in the morning and I think, Pete, you were too young, but you probably did too. Once you were able to, and we'd steal there'd either be mint things or chocolate brandy chocolates. Yeah, cherry brandy chocolates, pretty good on a Saturday morning while Mum and Dad were still asleep. Dark black cherry, really beautiful, and dark chocolate as well. It's got this dark chocolatey kind of character to it. Yeah, absolutely, Michael. The colour is quite pale, and as you pour it out, you sort of think, oh, this is going to be one of those more red fruit darks. But as is often the case with this wine, it's a little bit. It doesn't follow the rules. All right, I haven't put it in my mouth yet, but I'm getting these beautiful. It's like toasted cardamom seeds and almost a sort of incensey kind of a perfume to it. It's really lovely. Quite savoury, as I think Fee said, umami. And really juicy red and black cherry on the palate. It's got this kind of, on the palate, I think it's got this combo of red and black because it's got the tanginess of red cherry, but it's got the deepness and the richness of black cherry fruit. It's a really lovely combination. I'm just going to have a bit of my steak before it goes completely cold with a mouthful of the wine, because I think that, and then I'll talk to you about why I paired this to steak and chips. I forgot how chewy this steak was. It's delicious. It's a porterhouse on the bone from Chianina beef. And it brings up, I'm looking very glam, am I? Oh, thank you, Shannon. I just put some red lipstick on. It was the first one that came to hand. It's amazing what a bit of red lippy will do. The meat brings out the muskiness of the wine and the red and the dark red rose perfume of the wine, which I think is really wonderful. I do want to know, Craig, if you made the mashed potatoes, or dare I say the mashed butter with a little bit of potato in it. If you did, I want a blow-by-blow description of how delicious it is, because that is fancy French mashed potatoes are pretty awesome. I made thrice cooked duck fat chips. Some bits of them are a little bit dark, but they're pretty delicious still. They're not quite as crunchy as I would have liked them to be, but I'll keep working on the perfecting. Yours were? I left mine too long, did I? Oh, well, that's all right. Fee is getting aromatic herbs like thyme. Absolutely. I think that the thyme and a little bit of oregano and a little bit of sage coming through on the nose and the palate, I think is really lovely. Whipped butter with a hint of spuds, absolutely. And lots of salt, Rob. Got to have lots of salt. Potatoes need salt. That's something Hugh Robinson always tells me, and he, being Scottish, he knows his potatoes as well. But yeah, there's some sort of, it's not quite black pepper. It's a little bit more exotic than that, but it's got that sort of spice note to it as well. Can't quite work out what it is, but it's pretty awesome. Michael's saying you get a smokiness, which he loves. I shan't pull you up on that. I think that there is an earthiness or a smokiness to the wine, which I think is pretty awesome. Very approachable for a dark, not as dark and brooding. Well, I think, can you Uber the mash? Yeah, exactly. I'm not, I don't think it'll leave Sydney, Rita, unfortunately. Not yet, making it afterwards. Okay, Craig, report later. Okay. Zach and Jack want to know how such a young wine has such grace and balance. I think a bit peaty, Pete. I call it earthy. Some people can call it smoky. Some people can call it peaty. I think that if that character overwhelms the fruit, then it's a problem. But I think that having that in the background, it's sort of like a perfumed wood smoke of some sort. That's sort of what I meant by incense, I think. That sort of burning perfume kind of smell. Do your Pinots go through a dumb phase? They do, Michael. I think it's funny. This is the 23. So as I wrote in my email, 2023, we're just finishing up with it. And always when we get to the end of a vintage of wine and we're just about ready to move on to the next vintage, that's when the wine starts looking even better than it did on release. And I think this is a really good example of that. This wine has been a bit shy for most of the last 12 months, particularly when it's been put up against the Robinson and the Garden, because the Garden was quite friendly this year. No, Craig, I wouldn't get forest floor in this wine yet. It needs probably another 5 to 8 years to start developing that real kind of earthy forest floory, leafy, dried fruit kind of a character. It'll evolve slowly, but it has got a lovely brightness and richness and ripeness to it, which was a classic sort of character of the 2023 Pinots. Really lovely natural acidity, lovely kind of brightness, and quite forward flavour without it being overly fruity. And I think Zach and Jack, it's partly the vintage that makes this wine so approachable, but it's also that grace and balance. That's a lovely way of describing this wine. And it's the 12 months that we've been selling it for, and it's been getting better and better in the bottle. And whenever we open it, whenever we look at it, and it doesn't do as well on the cellar door bench as the Robinson or the Garden Vineyard, because it's a wine that you need to spend a little bit of time with, and either chuck it in a decanter quickly before you pour it in the glass, or pour a glass and let it open up in the glass over time. Whereas when you're in the cellar door, it's a really lovely convivial experience, but you've got maybe 6 or 7 wines to taste through. And this wine often gets missed by people, and then you kind of sit down and drink it, and then then you have your little aha moment, and it all makes sense. Fee, it is a cinnamon stick. I'm so glad that's coming through for you as well, because me too, I'm getting cinnamon stick and cloves now on the nose, and that gives it a little bit more savouriness, a few more base notes to the wine. Balance with bright fruit, soft tannins result in great length. Absolutely, Jeff. That sounds like a Jeff comment rather than a Sue comment, but I could be wrong. Fruit forward like a Robbo, not floral, but with the usual delightful savoury tone, says Rob. I agree. I think it is gorgeous. It's got that lovely sort of mouth-watering acidity that just makes you need to have a little bit more chip or a bit more steak, and then another mouthful of wine. So, how much new oak, Michael? Not very much at all. We've reduced our use of new oak in all of our wines, more in our Chardonnays than in our Pinots. So some of our Chardonnays in the last few years have had almost none or no new oak at all, whereas the Pinot still usually has somewhere between sort of 5 and 10% new. But I didn't have a look at the notes for this particular wine. But I would say probably definitely somewhere there between the 5 and 10%. And I think that the wine doesn't need, the oak kind of gives it a frame. And I've said to you guys before, but I haven't said it for a while, I do think the oak is very much like, it should be a seasoning to the wine rather than a major flavour profile. So it's like sprinkling a bit of salt over food. little bit of oak in the wine just kind of brings up all the flavours of the wine and enhances them and makes them a bit more delicious. I don't want to taste oak in my wine. I don't want that to be a forward character in the wine. And so as a result, particularly as our vines have got older and we've got better quality fruit, we feel, and we get small berries and lovely natural tannin from the skins, we just find that we don't need that that oak element as much anymore. And also high levels of new oak in wine mean that you need to wait longer before it comes into balance, if it ever does. And so a lot of more old school red wines with more new oak in them, you need to put them in your cellar for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And then you kind of roll the dice and say, well, has the oak kind of settled down and the fruit come forward, or is the oak still dominating the wine? So, yeah, it's all about balance. Shell is saying the wine's made for mushroom bourguignon and mashed potatoes. Awesome. It is going very well with my duck chips. Polly's feeling very put upon because she didn't get very much steak or chips. So we're getting a little bit of cheeky barking. What have I missed? Greg has said, question, is there a condition you get where you get overly sensitive to oak flavours? I think I've developed it. I think it's called a refined palate. It's also part of the fashion these days is to use less new oak and rely on better quality fruit. You guys are drinking at the top level of wines on a regular basis. We don't need to hide things or add a layer of complexity with oak, and so it's not necessary. And then when you do get a wine, hello Polly, when you do get a wine that has oak to sort of either give a bit more complexity and depth to a wine, or cover something up, or extend the flavour profile, you kind of see it for what it is, and that's sort of it's a added flavour that hasn't got much to do with the wine. Michael, sorry to harp on. How influenced are you by the Burgundian trends? E.g., how closely do you look at what's happening at DRC? I can't afford to really look at what's happening at DRC these days, Michael. Have you seen how much those wines cost? No, in the early days when there wasn't very much good Pinot Noir being made outside of Burgundy, then we certainly needed to sort of look to Burgundy to learn to find out how they made Pinot, and to learn and to decide what things we wanted to adapt. But I think, we've been making Pinot Noir now for nearly 40 years here at Moorooduc, and Australian Pinot Noir has improved hugely. And I think we've kind of, there's always a good reason to talk to other Pinot Noir producers, but I don't think we need to ask as many questions of the Burgundians about how to deal with Pinot Noir, because we kind of know how to deal with Pinot Noir here. I think we refine it every year, and I think that we work very hard in the vineyard to grow the best Pinot Noir that we can. And we're not trying to make Burgundy. We're not trying to copy what they're doing. We've sort of taken the techniques that we like from Burgundy and we've adapted them to what we do. We still drink Burgundy, from time to time when we can, because, it can be delicious. But it's these days getting less and less good value for money. So not being multimillionaires here at Moorooduc, you'll be surprised to hear, we need to, well, you do like Burgundy, Jill, and I wasn't saying that we don't like Burgundy. I'm just saying that we don't rely on Burgundy to tell us how to make Pinot Noir anymore. But possibly not expressing it very well. what did Craig, is there, oh yes, I've done that one. Rita, it's a very smooth wine. It is smooth, working really well with lamb and Greek style hot chips. Enrico says he can smell a little smoke. Yep, cool. That's why I think it's good with sort of grilled meat or barbecued meat. That smokiness of the meat and the Maillard reaction that you get on the outside of the steak. So if you're looking at, if people are having steak or lamb, if you've got, see how it's pink in the middle, but it's got that lovely brown crust on the outside. I cooked this steak in a lot of butter with a bit of thyme in there, as the recipe suggested, and some salt. And that crust is caramelization of the meat, and it's called the Maillard reaction. Maillard, M-A-I-L-L-A-R-D, Maillard. French guy. It's about how in meat, when heat hits meat with fat, then the sugars in the meat caramelize on the outside and you get this lovely crust, and it tastes very different from the meat on the inside. And that's one of the lovely things about really well cooked meat. You can get the Maillard reaction in wine as well. Not this kind of wine. It has to be a very specific type of wine, and champagne is probably the best example, but you'll see it also in white sweet wine from the Loire. So in a wine bottle, in a champagne bottle, and it particularly happens in champagne and sparkling wine because of the pressure that the wine's under as well. So under pressure with high acid and sugar and thyme, that sugar will caramelize in the wine, and then you get caramelly flavors in. So that's what happens when you have a cellar-aged champagne, for example, and as well as all of the other lovely smells. You can sort of taste butter toffee and caramelized butter, and that's from the Maillard reaction. I can't remember why I started talking about that now. But it's good. Oh, the smokiness. So the smokiness and that crust on the outside of the meat. Also, I think a bit of good fat on the meat if you caramelize that as well, makes it taste pretty good. So, is that implicated in the brioche character? Yep. So Rob, part of the brioche character does come from that Maillard reaction in champagne, but some of it also comes from the yeast lees breaking down in the champagne during the time that the wine is left to mature on lees before it's disgorged. So you get the brioche character from a couple of different areas. It's trying to work out what flavour comes from what winemaking in champagne is quite complicated. We might have to do some practice with some champagne together sometime on another Drinks with Kate Live, or the fabulous champagne wine course that I'm trying to find some time to look into offering from here. That could be fun. It is alchemy, absolutely, Rob. It's amazing. Who needs to turn base substances into gold when you can have the Maillard reaction in meat and in Maillard? It's not Mallard, Michael. It's Maillard, M-A-I. Get the duck, absolutely. It's a nice circular conversation, really. Craig, I think Mornington Pinot has a class on its own now. Absolutely. Pinots across Australia are very varietal and they're all good, but there is a real Australian Pinot Noir character. Hello, Kay. How you going? Cheers. New questions are now for Nebbiolo. Zach and Jack. I think I've missed something. Going back. Craig, I think it's because the wine we drink is generally less oak. It's more noticeable when you see it. Absolutely, Dan. When other people are buying? Exactly, Fee. I'm very happy to drink any glass of DRC that anyone wants to give me. Can't afford it myself. But Dad's got some nice Burgundies that he bought a little while ago from a friend who imported it directly. So it was a little, you didn't have as many layers of people needing to make money out of it. But these days, those wines that you used to buy, Dad, are totally out of reach, aren't they? He's nodding and saying, yep. Oh, Jill's got some food for you, Paul. Polly's sulking because I gave her yucky, uncooked, human grade lamb, and I didn't give her delicious steak, but Jill's sorting her out. She looks much happier now. So I've got to say, these chips are really good. Mine, because they've gone a bit cool, they've gone a bit soggy, but the flavour is amazing. I think that's partly because they're really good potatoes that Jill got from Torello. I think they're Hawke's potatoes. And Sebagos, and I cut them, I parboiled them, cut them up, fried them once in duck fat, took them out, and then reheated them in the duck fat. And they are so good, so delicious. Pretty average Burgundy. Dan, I think that is a really good point. So when I say Burgundy is too expensive, these days, your sort of entry-level Bourgogne Rouge is usually at least $100 a bottle, and not even from really good producers. And Burgundy is one of those things that it's like, it's a bit like anything, any wine, and you can't just go, oh, all Burgundy's good. You've got to learn about the producers and who's got good vineyards and how they look after their vineyards. And the French like to be a little bit opaque about some of that stuff. And so then you follow reviewers, and you have people like Jasper Morris in Burgundy, Englishman in Burgundy. You've got Philip Rich, who likes to specialise in Burgundy in Australia, but doesn't get to write about it very much anymore because it doesn't pay the bills. But people who really kind of dedicate their lives to Burgundy, and they always talk about the same handful of really great producers. And I think the other thing about Burgundy, not that this was supposed to be a Burgundy session, and as I say, I love Burgundy and I love tasting it in the same way that I love tasting most other wines, and particularly because it's Pinot Noir. But a lot of Burgundy, to the Australian palate, can be quite savoury and quite hard and quite ungenerous. And so you then need to wait for a long time, or you need to cope with the fact that it's not very fruity. And, I show these wines to people in the UK and in France and in America. And the Pinots that we make here are so distinctly different from the Pinots that come from the places that they're used to drinking Pinot from. First of all, Burgundy. Second of all, Germany, because there's a lot of really good Pinot being made in Germany, but it tends to be a bit chunkier and a bit more savoury again. And the really great Burgundies that make you swoon are going to set you back hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a bottle. So to buy them these days. So it's really sad. In the 1990s, when I started working in retail and I was selling quite a lot of Burgundy, and I had, I wasn't being paid very much, but I put most of what I was being paid back into my wine education. I had some really great mentors, and I had the opportunity to taste a lot of really first-class Burgundies. So I've been really spoilt in my life as well. So I'm a bit picky about what I drink. As I say, Dad's got a bit in his cellar, particularly red Burgundy, not a lot of white, because they had a real issue with random oxidation and cork issues, and the wine not aging the way that it should and developing too fast and all of those things. But Pinot Noir from Burgundy, I'm always happy to drink it, as I say, if someone else has bought it and puts it in the glass for me. But there's too many other exciting wines in the world that I want to taste as well, Michael went to 2 sip knots, and blind always chose the Aussie Pinots before the French and the US Pinots. Absolutely, because we have a cellar palate, whether we like it or not. And Alison's palate is very Aussie-centric too, and I think that's not unusual. We're in Australia, we drink mostly Australian wine. It's good to taste some other things. Craig put so much money into my wine education, unfortunately not tax deductible. Well, see, that for me at least is tax deductible, because working in the industry, it helps. And making Pinot Noir here, I need to know how other people make Pinot Noir. I need to know what it tastes like. So here's to that. But yeah, I think you guys have got a particular problem because I've created my little Moorooduc cult, and you guys drink Moorooduc every week. So you've got more of a cellar palate than a lot of Australians, but it's a good cellar palate, so it's okay. And I think all my non-Australian customers just find our Pinot Noir to be. They say, "Oh, this is very different. This is not like the Pinot Noir that we expect." It's got richer fruit. It's got more. It's more forward, but it's also got really lovely tannin and structure to it, which is unusual for Australian Pinot Noir as well. So, Shannon wants to know, if you're picky and Moorooduc's not available, what would your go-to? What would be your go-to? That's Michael. I don't think listening to Drinks with Kate does count as working in the industry. I'm sorry. And yes, I've made all of you into complete wine snobs. Absolutely. Look, I think it's very much worth tasting around the peninsula. There's a lot of even harder to get your hands on the good Tasmanian Pinot Noirs at the moment, but there's some really nice Tassie Pinots coming out as well. Craig pays 2 wages at the local wine store, putting in a claim. Excellent. Yes, absolutely. If you can't get Moorooduc, then you got to find some other favourites. But my recommendation would be to make sure that you've always got Moorooduc on hand, because it's a good fallback. Down here on the peninsula, I really love the Hurley Vineyard wines, but they're sort of hard to get and expensive. Paringa makes some very nice Pinot Noir, but they tend to have a little bit more new oak in them than us. Not as much as they used to, but it's pretty. I mean, yes, Rita, we do have some of this wine left to sell. Leonie has a bit stashed, and we've got a little bit in cellar door still, because we're not moving on to the 24s until Saturday. So it should still be on the website, on the shop, but you can definitely give Liz is in tomorrow. Leonie's having a day off before the big weekend, but yeah, you can definitely give Liz a call. And if you're coming down for the weekend, then you can definitely grab some then. Yes, Jill said if you're not, then we can definitely deliver it to you. So no excuse not to buy some now. Cellar palate, absolutely, Jackie. But it's nice to have it. It's nice to have a good cellar palate, isn't it? Now, I didn't properly answer a question from a while. Oh yeah, I did. I was just answering that then from Shannon. So yeah, there's some good Mornington Peninsula Pinots around. I think I really like some of the wines that come out of the Rare Hair wines are lovely, and you don't see them in shops though, because they mostly sell them through their hotel and restaurant. Hurley and Moorooduc are the only Mornington wines that have been offered in the nice part of the Qantas Plain, says Michael. That's true. I'm working hard to try and get some of our Pinots back on the front end of the plane at Qantas, but it's harder these days to get even considered and to be able to put wine in for tasting. So anyway, we'll see how we go. Zoe, Mags and Luca have given this wine their stamp of approval too. Excellent. I'm very glad to hear, Rob, and always lovely to share it with everyone too. Fee says she's always influenced by how much you like the winemaker. That's a nice way to put it, Fee. But Loans put us on to Hurley, Dan said. It is a different style to the duck, but it is delicious. And they're also, Shannon, I will talk to you about your contacts at Qantas. Thank you. That would be amazing. Excellent. What else? I will say as well that Hurley, because it's a bit smaller than us, and Kevin and Trish both, I think they're both working full time still. They don't open every weekend, but they are open this long weekend. So if you're down wandering around the peninsula for a few days, then Hurley's a good place to stick your head into and have a taste of the new release wines. It's always they're always lovely to visit, and I think it's usually pretty busy because they don't open all the time. Jill and Richard are having a little question about whether Barney's got a cellar door, and he doesn't. Barney doesn't have a cellar door, otherwise I'd send you there as well. Barney's wines are fabulous. The Hurley wines are a little expensive. They're delicious, almost across the road from you, Rita. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, they are really nice people. Barney, Garage East, delicious wines. We're going to have one of his wines. It's a Tempranillo called Joy in a few weeks' time. So, but he makes beautiful Pinot Noir as well. But again, it's a bit expensive and he doesn't make huge amounts. So you've got to grab it when you can. That wine's getting, there's a real kind of creamy, cinnamony, cherry, fruity, chocolatey character coming out in that wine now that it's had some air through it for a while. I think it's really delicious. Queerly just got the Qantas gig. Absolutely, Jackie. That's what reminded me that I need to do a bit of work with Qantas again. Rita had one of Barney's wines last weekend in a wine bar in Melbourne. It was good, excellent. There's lots of good people doing good things down here. So, if you want to, all right, a little bit of promotion now. If you want to get a feeling for a lot of different Mornington Peninsula Pinot Noirs in one place, then this Saturday, and I know a lot of you know about this, but just in case you haven't read your emails that I've been sending you and you haven't followed the links, this Saturday we are part of the Mornington Peninsula Vineyards Association tasting up at Red Hill. It's at the Red Hill Showgrounds. We're all in the big shed. There's 36 wineries, I think, taking part. We're all pouring 4 wines each. If you have, Shannon had a hangover for 2 days after last year. Oh dear. The spitting out is important. I think at that event, it's otherwise it's fairly overwhelming. Qantas may be not so good for the brand as wine tastes different at altitude. Peter and Karen, that is true, but we've had, I think that Pinot Noir works quite well at altitude, and we've had our Robinson Pinot on in the past in business class, and it did pretty well. I've had a lot of people give me feedback that they drank it at high altitude and it worked well. So I'm not too worried about that. And I know they do taste the wine with that to mind. Okay, Rita. So after this weekend, so just to run through, it's quite a busy time of year. So Saturday we're at Red Hill. Sunday we've got the lunch here. That's all. Bookings are closed for that now, so that's all good. But we have the big back vintage tasting here on Monday. And if you haven't put that in your diary, and if you haven't got anything better to do, that's going to be really fun. It's either going to be a little bit busy or really busy. I'm not sure. We've been kind of shouting about it a bit. And last year's was really, really good. So we'll have soup and sausages on the barbecue to sell from the courtyard as well. So that's that. So that's the weekend. After Monday, we get to collapse for a couple of days. And then the following week on the Thursday, I think it's the 16th of June anyway, not next Thursday, but the Thursday after, is Richard or Jill on the barbecue. Jeremy will be on the barbecue, but Jill will also be involved. So Richard will be talking about the wine. That's his job, in the room talking about the wine. The Thursday, so not this Thursday, not next Thursday, but the Thursday after, we have a break in Proceedings with Drinks with Kate because I am hosting a dinner at Navi in Yarraville. Now, I know some of you have already booked in, so thank you very much. It's going to be fabulous. I had a chat with Julian and Georgia and the team today, and the menu sounds amazing. Thursday the 18th. Ah, thank you, Rita. Mum's 80th. Oh my goodness. So, the dinner starts at 6:30, and it's probably going to go through till about 10:30. It's quite a long one, but it's Julian does lots of little courses, little tastes, but they're exquisite. They're beautifully put together, and we're matching them too. So the theme is the Robinson Vineyard. So it's Moorooduc Estate and Friends. So Paringa will be there, Rare Hair will be there, and Moorooduc Estate will be there. And we'll have those 3 Pinot Noirs from 2022 with the main course. So that's sort of what we're leading up to. I think we're starting with a glass of Paringa Blanc de Blanc Fizz on arrival, which will be lovely. Then we're doing the 2014 Pinot Gris with a beautiful. Julian was talking about it. It's a sashimi Moreton Bay bug tail with some crazy. I can't remember, but it sounded amazing sauce on it. It sounds incredible. Paringa does do fizz fee. It's I know. Where have you been? Indeed, they get a lot of talk about their Pinot Noir and their Shiraz, but they make a little bit of everything actually. And in 2021 they made a Robinson Chardonnay. So the next course will be with a bracket of the Moorooduc Estate and the Paringa 2021 Robinson Chardonnay, and then the main course. And we're debating about whether it's going to be duck or kangaroo. Or wallaby. And I said to Julie, he said, what do you want me to do? I said, I want you to do whatever is going to be most delicious. So he's still working on that. That will be served with the 3 Pinots. I'll be there. Jill and Richard will be there. Geraldine will be there. I think Hugh and Isabel are going to be there for the original owners of the Robinson Vineyard. I'm not sure who else is attending. But I have told Pete Finnegan, who he and his wife now own the Robinson Vineyard, so it'd be lovely if they were able to come too. Lindsay and Sal, we're still waiting to hear if they can make it, but hopefully they'll be there as well. So you'll have a lot of pretty cool people in the room. The food is amazing. And if you don't know Navi's food and you don't know Julian Hill, he was the chef at Paringa for a long time when Paringa... I still think he was when Paringa was at their best as far as the restaurant was concerned. They've had some very nice chefs afterwards, but Julian really left a big hole in that place, and he went back to Melbourne to open up Navi. It only seats 36 people. They still have some spots, Rita. So if you go to their website, which is so they're taking all the bookings. It's their event. I'm a guest to talk about the wines. So if you go to navi.com.au and go to bookings, and then there'll be a little pop-up that comes up that will be, it'll either say Moorooduc dinner or Robinson Vineyard dinner or something like that. And you can book through that link. If you have any problems with it, Rita, send me a little text message or an email tomorrow. I can send you a link to that page, or you can call Navi. I'm not sure when the best time is to call Navi. It's probably better to just book it through the website, to be honest. But that'll be fun. And yeah, it's very different from the Moorooduc experience. But we love working with Julian and Georgia and their team. And it's going to be super special. So yeah. Come on down. As I say, they've still got a few tickets left, and I think that'll be amazing. What was the other thing the other thing I was going to say is that I know a lot of you put your hand up for the Lucky Dip boxes. I think we've got 4 or 5 of them left at the winery that we're going to pop out for sale over the long weekend. But if you want a second one, or if you were thinking about getting one and you didn't, and you were having FOMO, then now's the time to jump on in and grab one. As I say, if you can't find the email, just give Liz a call tomorrow and she'll be able to sort you out. Dan and Paige's Lucky Dip arrived today. Haven't opened it yet. There's a few more that we have to deliver out next week because we got absolutely inundated with that and with the Drinks with Kate box. So we had to prioritise Drinks with Kate deliveries this week. So if you haven't got your Lucky Dip yet and you're in Melbourne, then Peter will be delivering them next week. Excellent, Rita. I think that would be amazing. Enrico's interstate, so you'll be on your own. If you get a chance to write a note on the booking, just say that you're friends of ours and you could possibly sit with the Robinsons as well. They've got a booking for 3, so there'll be mixed tables. We'll find you someone nice to sit with. I'll have a talk to Georgia as well, so definitely come on along. It'll be great fun. But if anyone else is going and you want to, Hugh, I know. I thought you knew Hugh and Isabel, so that'd be good. I reckon you could definitely sit with them. Peter and Karen have just booked Navi. Oh, good. So you could sit with Peter and Karen as well. Yay. Good. That's very exciting, guys. All right, team. Well, it's we've been chatting away for a while now. There's a lot going on. Kay finally fixed laptop, connect issues. I've been on my phone listening. Okay. And Kay, I'm glad to get the message that your finger's all right, because Kay, we went out for fondue last night and Kay managed to burn yourself. So I hope that the Pinot's helping as well. I'm glad that it wasn't too terrible an injury. It was awful, but it was really lovely. Those of you who came along, it was lots of fun. I've got to say, anyone who's looking for a fun and slightly silly but well done thing to do over the next few weeks in winter, it's at Federation Square. I think it's called the Fondue Chalet Village or something like that. Kay organised it. It was great fun. So go along. Book in with the kids to toast marshmallows or book in with the grown-ups to sit around eating fondue and drinking wine, mulled and otherwise. But it's very, very fun. Navi, an evening with Kate McIntyre MW of Moorooduc Estate. Exactly, Zach and Jack. It's going to be, that's what it's called. Okay, cool. An evening with Kate McIntyre MW of Moorooduc Estate. That's very nice. There'll be a little bit of talk probably from Lindsay if he can come, and possibly from Jerry. But it's going to be a really lovely night. And if you haven't been to Navi before, do yourself a favour and come along. It's expensive, but it's really special. Okay, team. Next week though, we have another Drinks with Kate. We've got the Magic Stalks Shiraz. I think it's the 21, might be the 23. I think it's the 21, because 2 weeks later we're doing the new label, which I think is the 23. So that'll be a fun compare and contrast. Enjoy the rest of your Pinot if you haven't finished it all already. I've got a little bit waiting for me over there. It's a beautiful wine, isn't it, Rob? I think it's the sort of wine that puts joy in your heart on a cold winter's night, and it's still changing in the glass. So, as I said, there's a bit more of that you can buy in cellar door over the next little while, but don't leave it too long because we're moving to the 24s this weekend, and it'll get packed away and stashed in the cellar for re-release in 5 years' time. So there you go. Rough play Pinot next week. Okay, thank you, Dan. 21, Pete, thanks. All right. Shell, Andrew, have a lovely long weekend, everyone. Lots of love again to Fee and David. We'll see you on the weekend. We'll see as many of you who feel like coming down on the weekend, and the rest of you have a really nice time. Have a rest, drink some nice wine, eat some good food, see some good people. Take care, and we'll see you next week on the other side. Cheers, everyone. And by the way, love you all.